Yep, okay. Saturday afternoon game that wasn't on TV, so I don't know if
Hang
we'll
on.
know as
Hey,
much.
hold on a minute there. You've not asked for my highlights, mate. You can't get away with that. This is my bloody
Oh,
team
sorry, I
here.
thought you'd covered everything.
Oh no, God no. No, not at all. No, the highlights I want to pull out of this game are my two, other than Sim doing very well on the wing and Walmsley being the absolute monster that we know he is.
That run where they didn't tackle him, so he just got up and ran another 20 metres. What was that?
I was going again. You can hear the ref go, yeah, you can hear the ref go, play on, and he just got up and went on again. It was great. Love that. But my two highlights were tries right at the end. Actually, and the third one would be Makinson's goal kicking, which was bloody flawless in absolutely dreadful conditions. And very often kicking from the touchline. I thought his kicking was sensational.
Yeah, Hardacre was pretty decent for Wigan as well, actually. It's weird.
Yeah, very, very good kicking. But the two highlights were the Dodd try at the end with the lovely little drop of the left shoulder and through the gap. But my favourite try was the passy run, fend, and offload to Matautia, who then slid in, just getting the nose of the ball on the line. That was a really good try. That was one of my highlights of the week. Okay, now we can move on.
No, you know what? Yeah, Dodd, got to give it to the kid. Two individual tries, different styles of individual tries 2 weeks in a row is really showing up, isn't he?
It's encouraging.
Okay, Huddersfield 26, Hull KR 12. It was 16-0 to the Giants at half-time, and they carried an advantage through to full-time. 5,724 were there. Robert Hicks was the referee. In terms of the team stats, Huddersfield became the first team this year to carry for over 1,500 metres in a game, making nearly 500 more metres than Hull KR and making ground at a big 9 metres per carry across the game. That's impressive. With 6 breaks made to 0 given up. Only negative for the Giants is the penalty count, which they lost 9-4.
In the individual stats for the winners, Jerry McGilvray scored a try in 180 metres. Luke Yates, a try in 153. Chris McQueen, 2 tries in 142. Tui Lower 3 try assists in 119 metres. For the losers, George King, 152 metres. The indefatigable Ryan Hall, 131. Frankie Halton, 43 tackles, 11 marker tackles, no misses, and 104 metres, going both ways. Well done, Frankie. And Dean Hadley, 41 tackles. Fan views. Mark W says, first half we were in total control, but just lacked a little something on the last tackle plays. Kyle looked much better with Parcell on the field. And they picked up in the second half, but to be honest, we never really looked like losing this one.
Always in our shadow. So credit to the KR fans who made the walk between the grounds in these conditions. Possibly the team should have been made to do the walk back. Staunton obviously had the right idea, claiming to be snowed in. Hashtags is 1985. Yeah, there was a charity walk, wasn't there? And it was not the best day to be doing it, so absolute credit to those guys.
It was indeed. And Tom Andrews, all I have to say is we lost the first 2 last year, and Mikey Lewis is the king. Oh, and it's peak Hull KR that one of our best forwards missed the game because he was stuck in traffic. I have to say I only saw the tries on this one, Mark. It very much looked like one-way traffic from Huddersfield. And it didn't look like they were having to work that hard to score their tries. Maybe I'm being a bit unfair on Hull KR here, but it didn't look like they were having to work really, really hard to get the sort of first 4 tries in the first half.
I've seen even less than that. From this game, to be honest. I've not had a chance to catch up much around this game. What I have caught up with, literally the only clip I've seen from this game, was the Daniel Levi challenge that he got his grade C 2-match penalty notice for, which was another other contrary behaviour charge. It was basically a similar thing to the Gale incident on Lomax. A player was injured actually by Theophage in the tackle that led to Theophage getting a 1-match penalty notice. And Levi gets into first marker and then kind of grabs the guy's collar and goes to sort of lift him, but he doesn't. He kind of tugs at it rather than he doesn't lift him up under the arms like Gale did, but he kind of pulled at the guy who was down, looking pretty injured, to be honest. And he actually challenged that grading, did Daniel Levi, but he has been unsuccessful in that challenge. But they haven't deemed it to be frivolous or unreasonable, but he's been levelled with a 2-match penalty notice that he was already given and the £500 fine for requesting a hearing on it. So there you go. Yeah.
I mean, what I will say was, whilst I'd be quite critical of Hull KR's intensity, from what I could see, just from watching the tries, what I will say is Huddersfield look pretty damn fit. They look slick. They look quick. They certainly played with a lot of intensity during the period through which they won the game. And maybe we're a year late, Mark, with our views on how good Huddersfield are going to be. Having been stung so often by them last year, I'm not going to start tipping them completely yet, but they look a lot better this year so far anyway, in 2 games in, than they did last year.
Yeah, we talked about penalties being a block. Chris Hill got a sin bin as well for foul play in this one towards the end of the game. But the back 3 of the pack looks like the standouts. I mean, they scored all the tries in the first half. And Christmas Queen grabbed just a second try on the hooter as well. So strong performances there from Huddersfield. I guess it is a shame for them that they're going to have to kind of rejig their spine for the Wigan game with Theophage and Levi both being suspended. But any other business was back in the lineup this week. So he suffered a bad injury last year, didn't he? The hooker there. So he can do good minutes at hooker. So they've got that to come back in. It might not be as dynamic as Levi's start to the season, but it's something.
Yeah. I think they'll have the work cut out against Wigan, but let's see.
They certainly started the season well. You can't knock them on that.
I'm sure the Cowbell Army are going to be delighted by that. By the way, the cowbell's getting even more annoying as far as I can. I had to turn the sound down because it was driving me mad. Never mind.
Another note from this one: Corbin Sims of Hull KR. He got a grade A dangerous contact charge, no match penalty notice for him. It doesn't look like he was pulled up for anything during the game. So again, a situation where the match review panels have picked up on some foul play there. Okay. Another televised game, but I was out, so I watched this one I fell asleep watching it after I'd watched the second half of your game, and then I watched it on Sunday morning, this one, David.
I've only watched the tries on this one, Mark.
Catalans 24, Wakefield 22 in the end, quite close. It was 16-10 at half-time to Ledrax. 7,623 were there. Tom Grant was the referee. In terms of the team stats, more metres, better average gain, with more breaks, fewer errors, and fewer penalty conceded. With those stat wins, it's hard to understand why Catalans made such heavy weather of this result.
Yeah, and for the winners, Fuad Yaha scored a try in 165 metres and 3 clean breaks. Joe Chan, 143 metres. Ben Garcia, a try in 115. And Sami Somilangi, 1 try in 109. For the losers, Tom Lynham, 1 try in 185 metres. That was a belter, by the way. I was stunned that the Flying Pig completely outpaced Sam Tompkins going down the wing. But anyway, Tom Johnstone, 2 tries, 7 tackle busts, 142 metres. Good to see. And 2 clean breaks. That's a good stat line. Good to see Tom Johnson back and uninjured at the moment, touch wood. Joe Batchelor, 109 metres. And Matty Ashurst, 43 tackles. And I think that's 13 mark tackles.
Oh, yeah, it is, yeah. Alan Walker said, coaching masterclass yet again from Super Coach Steves. The team were clearly set up to outclass their top-of-the-table opponents. The result was never in doubt and proves Eldrak's class. Oh wait, it was a scrappy win against Trin? Well, that's fucked then, innit? We've played as badly as our shit shirt. I thought the shirt's nice, but anyway.
I thought the shirt really...
Yeah. If you want to win the league, you need to put away this lot at home. Bolt guns are on sale at Amazon, Steves.
Tom Andrews, spirited performance from Wakey, but the class of Catalan shone through, although you could tell they were missing a few forwards. Some early shouts for shittest haircut of the year in that Wakey team, though. He obviously missed the whole game.
Yeah, but Tom Lynham's is fucking atrocious too.
That is pretty bad, actually. Yeah, that is pretty bad.
Yeah. I mean, look, I've got no hair now, so I can't really call them. But yeah. Wakey White said, good game this. Thought Catalan seemed to make much easier meters than Wakey throughout, but we managed to engineer good chances to score and kept ourselves in the game. I think Wakey win that if it goes 10 minutes longer, but all in all, a good performance away at the grand finalist, Catalan. I actually think Catalans obviously have got a props issue. One of the news stories to touch on is Mikel Gudemond. He left the game with a head injury, failed his assessment. It means he's going to miss the Catalans game at Leeds this week because he's in the concussion protocol. That's added on to Napa and Dudson with their bands and Busquets with his broken arm. It's a rough start when you've got that many people out at one position, even though a couple of them are very much self-inflicted. I just think I think that helped Wakefield stay in it. Not that Wakefield's pack's that imposing or impressive, but it just meant that the Catalans didn't have that role that they sometimes can get.
Yeah.
But having said that, some of the smaller forwards still were okay. Joe Chan came on. He was very much into things in this game. He played close to the line, I thought, actually, did young Chan. But overall, you have to say he impressed in the game. And I think we started to see a little bit more of Mitchell Pearce. We started to see him and Drinkwater starting to combine, him and Tompkins starting to combine. So there's a little bit more there. I thought McAlorum had a decent game for Catalans as well, as some of the young forwards. But yeah, Wakefield scored some nice tries. Obviously, the intercept long range that kept things interesting right to the end. But the first try for Tom Johnston, the kick to the corner, and the kick was from Brad Walker, wasn't it? Who's normally a loose forward, so a bit of a ball-playing loose forward. I guess they expected him to step up and replace Westerman for this season, but he's having to play in the halves at the moment. I don't know if Lino's a vaccine person or something like that. I'm not sure, or Miller, but they weren't there. So really creditable performance for Wakefield, given the players they didn't have available for them as well. But Catalans just had too much.
Yeah, which is what you'd have expected. I mean, I think the only team coming out with any credit from this result has to be Wakefield, because you'd have thought, even missing a couple of props, you'd have thought Catalan would have put them to the sword, to be honest. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, they did. They started really well, Catalans. They were 10-0 up in a quick flash, and that meant in fact they were 10-0 up by the time I fell asleep, by what I could tell. But that long range run against the play try was right in the last minute of the game, wasn't it? As the hooter went was when the goal was being kicked. So really, you could argue that it was really a 24-16 game to an extent. But I think this scoreline is more fair on Wakefield, because, like I said, they were creditable, considering they went into the game with Brad Walker and Harry Bowes, a loose forward and a hooker, as their halfback pairing, and both of them kind of. I mean, Walker's not young, but is not super experienced, and Bowes is both young and inexperienced.
I think they'll take a lot from the game, Wakefield. See whether they can build on that now.
Yeah, and Whitbread and Aiden off the bench were fairly strong for them as well. I thought,